Jeremy Sochan. No, it's not that, Jesse. It was something else. So Jeremy Sochan. Here we go. Episode 121 of Hoops Fix. I love Hoops Fix, y'all. I watch every single episode of Hoops Fix. I have no idea. I don't know what Hoops Fix is. But what I do know is that Jeremy Sochan likes them. He posted this. He said, Raw, someone who will always be true to the game and easy to talk to. Thank you, Sam Netter, from Hoops Fix. All right, so I'm going to be real with you guys, okay? As much as I love you, I don't know if I can go a whole hour of this. The whole hour reaction would basically be like 2.5 hours of us talking about it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to speed it up. Well, I guess I already got it sped up. And we'll take a look at quite a bit of this. Let's see. We got catching up with Sochan. Let's look at what the topics are. We got catching up with Sochan, life in the NBA, media and public perception, mental health and support systems, off-season plans and Eurobasket, NBA stars and referees, the ego factor, evolving goals in the oh my God, so much. Okay, actually, I want to listen to all this. All right, so what we're going to do, we'll listen to quite a few of it. Maybe this will be like 3 separate segments. I'm going to go live again on Tuesday night, and then, maybe we'll do another section of this. I think that would be a good idea. But right now, let's just try to get through, I guess, about 20 minutes of this. All right, let's listen.
Jeremy, how's it going?
I'm good. Back in London, England. It's been a crazy year, but no, I'm doing well.
So you just got back from the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
How was that as a trip?
Crazy. I knew a little bit about Philippines, especially about their basketball, but
I had my hair look like that. I dyed it platinum blonde, and then when it grew out, it looked just like that. It was pretty cool. It's a cool hairstyle. I like it.
It's a whole different level there. How much they love it, the culture. It was truly amazing. It was crazy.
What was that for? Was that like an NBA thing, a Spurs thing, a brand thing?
Yeah, the NBA reached out. They were doing like a high school tournament, Rising Stars Invitational, and I think it was high schools around Philippines. And the winner actually goes to Singapore to play like this regional one.
Okay.
So it was pretty big. It was a lot of fun for me. It was, I've never been to Asia. One of my closest boys, Carl, was from Philippines. So I think it was just a good opportunity to experience that, and it was great. It was great.
Obviously,
Caps, are you okay? Caps, are you okay? What did I say? What did I say? I was just watching, and that was your comment. Are you okay? Are you all right? I mean, I know that you hate him. I know you hate him with a burning passion, man, but you got to relax, bro. What is that? What kind of comment is that? I was literally just watching. Jeez, everything is glazed nowadays, man. You can't even watch an interview. Wow. Incredible. You trying to imitate his hair? No, I was just saying that my hair was like that when I dyed it. That's all I said. I said it was a cool hairstyle. Come on, bro. You dyed your hair. You did that for Sochan. Come on, bro. Like, oh my God. I got piercings too. Did I do that for Sochan? I got a nose piercing. I got a piercing here. Did I do that for Sochan? Does anybody in the chat have a tattoo? Get off of Sochan, all right? Get off of him, okay? Jeez. Do you guys like basketball? Sochan likes basketball. Get off of him, bro. For the love of God.
Was doing a quick bit of research before we did this. Like, you were doing the media rounds, lot of interview. The last time that we did a podcast, you were just about to get drafted, and it was all new and exciting. Yeah. And now you're in year 3, right? Yeah. It's not new anymore. It might have been exciting.
Yeah, anymore. Alex said I wake up in the morning for Sochan. Yes, we all do.
And now we're doing another interview. Are you getting tired of the media stuff, or do you still enjoy it? Like, I'm assuming that you get a lot of the same questions.
That's the problem. If it's the same questions constantly, that's when it gets a little annoying. But I feel like it's part of the job. It's part of,
Sup, clan? I saw your recommended video. Everything right about Dragon Ball Evolution should be a -1 right thing. One right thing? Yeah. That's actually Totally Not Mark. If you guys are Dragon Ball fans, you should definitely watch Totally Not Mark. He does a really great job with his videos. I have that on my watch later. I do want to see, because that seems like an interesting video, right? But like the only thing I can think of that they got right was Goku likes food. Like that's kind of it. Oh, his name is Goku too, so they got that right. The character names are right. I don't know what else they got right.
What I need to do to be where I'm at. So I don't look at it. Sometimes, it depends on the mood as well, but I don't hate it. But when it's the same typical questions, it can get a little boring.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of guidance, like in the States, from the PR side of being like, look,
Yeah.
you can talk about this, don't talk about this? Like, how much do they try and sort of shape what you're able to talk about?
A little bit, but I feel like the type of player I am person, I feel like they give me, freedom to, say stuff, like say whatever is on my mind. I think, again, of course, it has to be,
Okay, so we just talked about Jackson, right? We just talked about Steven Jackson, and I think it's a very big difference, right? Like Sochan is a player that I don't think that there is a lot of toxicity when it comes to, like, how can I explain this? Okay, I think I understand. I think I know how I want to phrase it. So, okay, people that didn't watch that segment, let me go and break down what happened. So we looked at a Danny Green interview with Steven Jackson that was recent, in which Steven Jackson ended up saying that during one of his practices in 2013, he got on to certain players. He was like, "What's your problem? Pass the effing ball." Like, really was toxic towards them. And the Spurs didn't like that, right? And eventually, obviously, got replaced with T-Mac. So that was a big thing, right? And he talked about, like, hey, I'm just passionate. And now we hear Jeremy Sochan saying, yeah, the team allows me to do whatever I want, right? Say whatever I want. It's not that big a deal. Nobody really cares. But I think the biggest difference between Sochan and Jackson in this regard, as far as personality wise, is I feel like Steven Jackson, a big chunk of his issues came down to ego, right? A big chunk of it came down to ego, because you can be critical of teammates, you can be critical of game plans, you can be critical of so many different things, but if you're coming at it at a certain angle, it hits a little different, right? It's a different vibe. I guess it will be similar to, like, if you have somebody that you really care about give you advice on something, right? Versus some stranger on the internet. Like, let's say that they're like, you need to get healthy, right? If your mom tells you that, that's it. Well, I guess it depends on what type of mom you have, right? But if your mom tells you that, it's a different vibe, the way that she came about it, and it's a place of care or whatever. But if some rando on the internet comes to you like that, or they come to you a little hostile, it's a completely different vibe, right? It's something underneath the surface that's going on there. So I think that with Jackson, it was mainly ego, and with Sochan, first off, I don't think he really gets on players like that, but we do know that he had like a back and forth with Zach Collins. It's just a different vibe. I think it's just a different vibe. And every player has an ego. Don't get me wrong. Every player has an ego, but I think Jackson was mostly ego at that time. Sochan has an ego, but it manifests as wanting to be a good teammate, glue guy. Yeah. He's willing to take a back seat. He knows that, hey, I'm not better than Wemby, right? But I feel like with Steven Jackson, the fact that he let it come out of his mouth that he's better than Manu and then say that he was better than Tony is crazy to me.
EG, and you can't be swearing all the time and all the stuff, but yeah. I think overall they give you some talking points, but at the end of the day, I like
he's talking about the NBA, but I know that the Spurs do this well. Like, Sochan gets away with lots of things he say to the media, but it never comes across as all ego, it's all about me or anything like that.
Be myself. So I try to be me in these interviews and stuff.
When I think back to that last interview, and then I look at now, like, obviously you're a different person. You're the same person, but a lot's changed. But
I should watch that too. I should watch it.
It's super interesting to kind of hear how you're viewing things at that time.
Yeah.
If you think back to just before you got drafted and who you were as a person, what do you think has changed from then until now?
It's a good question. I think a lot. I think maturity-wise,
a lot.
I feel like I've seen a lot now. Just the whole side of business, basketball. Even money. The people I'm around. It's definitely changed a lot, but I think it's the cool thing I think for me is I keep the same people around me when before all of this. My parents are still in America with me. My friends from UK, from Southampton and Milton.
That's some no new friends type stuff. Who is the guy that he's always doing videos with? You guys know what I'm talking about? I couldn't tell, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I like full transparency here. I thought at one point I was like, okay, is that his brother? It's like, I don't know. Is that his cousin? I don't know. And then at one point I was like, is he dating him? Like, I do not know their relationship. I do not. You guys know who I'm talking about? It's the light skinned guy, the light skinned fella. I don't know his name, but he did so many videos with them to the point where I was like, yo, no, I mean, that's fine. I wouldn't care. I didn't know, bro. I was like, are y'all like, yeah. Okay, so you know who I'm talking about. I don't know. I guess that maybe that's his like, maybe it's his brother. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I am curious. I think if I look deeper into it, I would know, but like I don't. I try not to stalk. They're roommates. Oh, they're roommates. Okay, got it. I don't know. I have no idea. Seriously, I don't know. It's no big deal. It doesn't matter.
Keynes, Jack and Matt, my coaches. So I think that part doesn't change, and it's not like I'm doing crazy stuff and changing who I am. I think it's just
it might legit just be his best friend. Figure early basketball friend. Yeah, it's probably just his best friend.
Perspective and all that stuff.
Has your relationship with basketball changed as it's gone from this passion, this love to it's your job now, right?
That's a good question. I think at times it has, but I think you try keep it as basketball, just the way I played as a kid. It was just love. It was something I'd love to do to compete and win. But
remember when Sochan and Keldon slap each other? Didn't Sochan? I thought Sochan slapped Keldon, and then I don't know. I do remember that was funny.
I'm not gonna lie. There's times it gets tough. It's a business. Whether it's
no, Sochan is dating someone named Ari Alexander. Is that a real person? How do you know that? Is that real? Are we trolling? Okay, hold on. I my curiosity is just too much. Sochan. Who is this? Oh, this is literally 6 days ago. This is TikTok. Hold on, let's see if it comes up. Okay, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. Jeremy Sochan girlfriend Alexander. I don't know. Her? I don't know. This is just. Are we just making stuff up? Who is this? Is that her? You can just look up these things. Like I'm genuinely curious now. Was that her? Oh wait, I think that is. Wait, is that her? I don't know. That's all right. You don't have to know. I don't know, dude. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter. Good stuff though. Good stuff.
Your boys getting traded to not playing or injuries. Like there's a lot of different factors that can make it tough some of the days. But I think at the end of the day I see it as basketball, something that I grew up with and loved and was passionate about.
Is being an NBA player everything you imagined it?
Felix says Sochan is such a good guy and such a Spur. I agree with this such a Spur part for sure, bro. Like he said, the huge difference between him and Jackson is that Jeremy is a team first and has no toxic ego. He's a guy you want to have as your teammate. Yeah, like easily. It's very obvious too.
It to be.
Cool. I think so. I think as a kid I always said it, like everyone asks about this, but I always said I was gonna be in the NBA. So like,
she might have been the girl in the black. Oh, okay.
Once I actually got to the NBA, it wasn't like oh snap, like I'm here. Like it just felt natural. It felt like I belong here. I was meant to be here.
What a difference!
I think there's nothing that.
What a difference, bro! You can kind of tell the difference between players that like, yeah, I belong here, and players where it takes a little bit more work. You can just tell. Like our boy Derek White, it took him a while to realize he belonged in the NBA.
It's happened, or I've seen that. It's like, oh snap, this is like next level, like crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
What do you think is the part about it that people don't see? You know, like when all these kids across the UK are dreaming of being in the position you're in, right? You now are in a position where you actually face the reality of what it looks like.
Yeah.
And there must be things that you probably didn't think about before you made the NBA. Like, kind of, what are the sort of the unseen parts of it that maybe people don't recognise?
I think just the business side, like how cutthroat it is. I remember the first couple meetings I had, because we, as rookies, we have like these rookie transition programs. They have to do. I think they changed it, and I was in summer league. I didn't play summer league, but I was there, and it's all different presentations about financial stuff, agents, family, friends, girls, all sorts of different things. But one thing was like the length of a player's career, and you can't fact check me on this, but I think it's around 3 years. So it's super.
3? I guess that's not that crazy. This is why you guys know how like sometimes Spurs fans, and I guess any franchise does this, but like Spurs fans get so critical of our draft picks where they're like, this player wasn't that good, this player isn't that good, this player is not, and we'll have like literally 6 players or 7 players on our team that we personally drafted that are getting playing time, and we would criticize every single draft that the Spurs did. I would really encourage people, before you like truly criticize the San Antonio Spurs, go back to some of our recent drafts and look at how many players in that draft. You can look at players before we picked, but in that draft that are still good in the NBA or still have jobs in the NBA, or just look up how many minutes they're getting in the NBA. Because the fact that the Spurs have been able to continuously draft guys and get some type of mileage out of them for X amount of years is pretty impressive. I'm going to be real with you. It's pretty impressive. So I don't know. I think we do a pretty good job at drafting. Like, yeah, you can pick out certain drafts and say, oh, dang, you chose, Devin over Halliburton or something like that. A lot of teams did. I get with that. But then let's not act like Vassell isn't getting utility, right? Like, a lot of teams can't even say that. A lot of teams draft and their guys are gone within the first year.
Cutthroat. Like, people don't realize 60 new players come in every year, so there's no space for players. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I really like.
Exactly. DeJounte, Keldon, Derek. Like, yeah, these are guys that's still getting playing time, right, and deserve to be in the NBA. But you can't, but people will want to point out like Luka, right? Well, what about Luka Samanic? The fact that you can get a player in mid to late first round pick and get multitude of years out of them is a feat in and of itself. It speaks to how good you are at drafting.
Realize, and I thought that part was pretty crazy.
Did you find that that rookie transition program helpful? Do you think it provided guidance that you wouldn't have received from elsewhere?
It was just a presentation. That don't sound that helpful.
So for me, I think I was good without it because of the people around me. My agent is good. Yeah. My family.
Spurs do a good job and make sure you draft the right types of guys, right? So you don't have to have too much guidance in that department, I guess.
Family, but I feel like in that sense I'm pretty lucky, but not everyone has the same system around themselves. So
yeah,
I feel like it could be good for some certain players.
Do you think that you've mentioned now twice the business, right? Do you feel like you find yourself looking at it like a business now as opposed to,
unless it is Primo? I don't know if you had any. I don't know how you could have known with Primo, to be honest. Something like that. I don't know. That was so left field. I don't know if you could have even known, bro. Because even Josh Primo, he really came across as like, I remember us watching his press conference being like, what the heck? Like, how old is this kid? Wolf in sheep's clothing. Yes, that was very hard to,
to just basketball. Are you trying to see yourself as a businessman or an employee, a worker that work like this is your job? Like, yeah. Well, how are you viewing it?
That's a good question. I see it like I see it as a business, but I always want to be true to myself. And at the end of the day, I know the reasons why I'm here. Like, how did I get here? It was literally just playing basketball, working hard, just doing the right things. And I think when you remind yourself that that's what's most important, you just see it as basketball. And of course, there's the business side. You can't hide away from that. There's going to be different opportunities. There's going to be different things that happen on a team. You never know. But I always try, kind of have a growth mindset towards it and just play the game.
Yeah, of course.
Keeps things in perspective.
I watched your
That's cool.
end of season interview.
Yeah.
You did your press conference with the Spurs, and one of the things
I have to say, this is far better than that other interview we looked at. Like 150 times better. I really do want to watch this whole thing, but we're gonna have to split it up.
I picked up on was you just talking about your role and sort of. I think you said like the last 2 years have been difficult for you personally in trying to understand your role and where they want you, what they want you to do. Like, what have you found particularly difficult about that? Like, where do you see it now?
Yeah, no, like you said, I said that these last 2 years have been tough. I played from point guard, which I never did until the NBA at the highest level. I played backup center. I played all positions. For me, the toughest part was to like find consistency in it. Sometimes I didn't know what was gonna happen, and for me, I always want to compete and give the best to the team. And I feel like at times I couldn't achieve that. So I think that was the toughest part. And I think the way I see it, I was in those moments, and maybe in the moment it didn't feel good, but I feel like you still grow from it.
One thing I want to say about this interview, the one thing that kind of stood out, and I know it's something that's very small that probably don't think it's that big a deal, but I think it's a big deal. The fact when he was talking about the rookie program that they were in, to look at finances, talk about girls, how do you carry yourself, agents, all that good stuff. I thought that it's very telling that, because obviously Sochan, if you know his history, you know that he has been very, very privileged. Like when it came to like his experiences, different countries that he's been to. The fact that he was able to say, hey, some people actually do need that because they have different backgrounds than I do. I think that's very telling. I think that kind of speaks to the Spurs as an organization too. Like it's and if you want to just say, like, I think on a human side of things, that's really important. But I think that's also important as a teammate as well, because you're going to get so many people in that have different backgrounds, and being able to relate to them or being able to empathize and understand your teammates is super important. And Wemby has it, because we know that Wemby has been like seen as a prodigy since he was like a teenager, right? But he has had it. Sochan has it. Popovich has it. And I think in turn, all the people that they hire probably has that. So I just think that's really important. That's something that might seem small, but somebody that's been in the position that Sochan has been in, for him to say, not to be on his high horse, because he could have easily went into that question and just said, no, I mean, it's worthless. It's not. What good is it? But he was able to recognize that it didn't mean much to me, but it might mean a lot to other people. That stuff is important. It's important. He's always thoughtful. It's good. It shows his humility. Humility is important. It's very important. So these are small things that you should pick up on when we're talking about our players, right?
You kind of reflect on it, and later on you see it and you look at the past and you're like, okay, this really helped, or I can do this now, or I can change this. So I always see the beauty in it, and I think I'm happy I went through all of it.
The famous point guard experiment.
Yeah.
How do you reflect on that now?
Yeah, it was tough.
Sochan can't shoot and defense sus. What? You can't be talking about Sochan. I don't. What? Daring over Sochan? You guys are weird. Why are you guys doing this? This is troll talk? Yeah, I think y'all trolling a little bit.
Tough.
Defense sus is a crazy statement.
It's my second year. We didn't do too much like work or.
How was it first presented to you? Like, how did you first learn?
Clayton, you see the Stephen Castle workout footage? I have seen it. Wait, no, we didn't watch the full thing. That's another thing we'll have to watch the full thing of. We saw like a small segment of it, and we went over it in a video. But yeah, we'll have to do the full thing soon.
and I say we're going to start
Right.
with point guard.
So my first year, towards the end, I was playing point guard.
During shooting like 60%. Can you please, can we please be real here on where Duran gets his shots and how he gets his shots? Can we contextualize it a little bit? Can we not do that? Can we not do that? Halliburton over for sale? Yeah, easy. That's an easy one. But like, can we not do that? Jeez, guys. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous thing to say. That's all you get out of that. You don't have the same defensive versatility that you would get out of a Sochan. He literally guards all positions. And if you say that's not true, you're either lying or you don't know what you're talking about. Because we can go and look at the stats once again and show how he does against guards versus centers versus power forwards versus small forwards. It's all the same thing.
It was
Y'all ain't gonna hate. Y'all ain't gonna hate. Don't do this, Clan. I'm ignore them. I'm ignore them. Y'all not gonna hate. You're not gonna hate. I literally tell you something that's coming out of this interview that's very thoughtful and I think is important. And our responses are, what about Duran? What are we talking about?
random. I'm not really sure why. Pop. That's the one thing that's cool about Pop. He likes to try new things. He's bold. And I started playing more point guard. Maybe we had a couple injuries. He just saw my playmaking ability and vision. And towards the end of the season, the meetings we had, exit meetings, he just threw out this idea that he's gonna think about and want to try, and it just happened. And
Were you a willing participant at that?
Duran wouldn't play well with Wemby at all. No, he wouldn't. I mean, we've already seen what it looks like when Wemby's out there with a player like Duran. It doesn't really pan out. Even French, when they went to the Olympics with this French team, they couldn't play him with Rudy Gobert. It just doesn't work.
At that point, were you like,
yeah, I'm always winning, and maybe sometimes that bites you. But I'm always gonna be winning. I'm always about trying stuff, experiencing new things. So it was definitely interesting, how it happened, but it was definitely a long process, being involved as the number one point guard on the team, especially in the environment. Victor just came, so he had a lot of media presence. Like we never seen that before. My first year, we didn't have as much media around, so it was definitely a tough period for sure.
Yeah. How did you find sort of the media scrutiny around it?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually was talking recently
Oh, yeah, this is a good one. We need to end on this question.
to my boys about it. They kind of tried to make me out as this villain who is selfish and doesn't want to pass to some players. But it was truly like when I see stuff like that, I just kind of just push it on the side because it's not true.
Yeah.
And I think most important thing is for the people around me to not feel like that and react like that. So I think I didn't really give it a big deal. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, he just called y'all out. There was so much narrativizing, bro. It was so much the narrativizing was so bad that I literally did this. Hold on. The narrativizing was so bad. So I posted. I still have it as the pin if y'all are ever interested in it. But like people around that time, because this might seem just random if you just come on here and you're like, this is weird. What? But I said Vic and Sochan being PFFs. Don't let hater narratives fool you. It was ridiculous. Rookie Wemby. It was ridiculous. The type of things that people were saying. So I created a thread, and I'm still adding to it when things happen. But it's like we have overwhelming evidence that these two like each other. Like that they're cool. So the idea that they aren't, or that he's just being selfish, I think that's just ridiculous. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that he's bringing that up. He's basically calling those people out. That's beautiful.
Sure.
Like one of the things we spoke about on the previous podcast we did was about the sort of the online stuff. It was that was actually after the tournament and the UNC game.
Yeah, that was a crazy period too. That's probably like the first one that it happened.
It's so bad, it's so bad, and I would think that in the NBA that is 10x whatever that was in college.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse.
And obviously we're talking about it now, and you act like it's you just walk off the duck's back. You're just like I'll just block it out. I just focus on the present. It's not a big deal, but surely it's
it definitely weighs down on you, especially there's moments where maybe you're having a bad stretch, you're not playing well, and it happens, and maybe I don't know, maybe something off the court, you have some issues too. and of course, like the one thing is, you know, people always say, oh, just block, you know, don't go on Instagram, don't go on this. It's gonna find you. It's gonna find you some way. Whether it's someone sending it to you, your boy, by accident, not knowing, it's gonna, you know, hurt your feelings or something. It's always gonna, you're always gonna see it somewhere. So, it definitely does weigh on you. But I think, for me, especially, I feel like I communicate, and I got people around me that help and kind of like ease it off. And I think at that point it helps, you know, with all of that stuff.
Has it ever really got you to the point where you've had to get support?
I wouldn't say so.
No.
I've been lucky.
Yeah.
But I've seen, you know, I be getting DMs and stuff, mentions, but I've seen some of the stuff that, you know, my teammates get, and it's sad. It's sad that like people can like talk to you like that, you know what I mean? But it's interesting where it comes from.
I never do it. Back in maybe what kind of disturbs me with all that stuff, where like you talk really trash about players or whatnot, like you go too far with it, is like back when I was in middle school, I felt like that. I never like tried to message players or try to communicate with players, which I guess back then you probably weren't gonna get a chance to, but I would trash talk or whatnot. But like as I gotten older, bro, like throughout high school and then college, it's not worth it, man. And a lot of times you don't have a full picture of what the problem is or what's going on. And we kind of resort to just narrativizing things. Like the whole situation with Sochan and Wemby not necessarily clicking wasn't just the fact that he wasn't giving him alley-oops. Like that's ridiculous. Like Sochan was in a completely different position. And then number two, no one has ever played with someone like Wemby before. And we started to see, even with Wemby with different teams, you know, with the French team in particular, they struggled to give him the ball in certain situations. I mean, it wasn't until we got Chris Paul where we saw a little bit more of, okay, this is what it kind of can look like, but we still haven't really fully figured it out, right? Because I think a big part of it is Wemby hasn't even figured it out. But it was just so much narrativizing around this till it just got out of hand. It got ridiculous. And people they have these weird parasocial relationships to the point where they feel like they can just say whatever to you, bro. They just feel like they can say absolutely whatever to you. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's not cool. You should chill.
From like, is it insecurity, or is it, you know, you just lost their parlay? Like it's sad.
Do you think the gambling stuff has exacerbated it and made it a lot worse?
Oh yeah. It's made it huge. I'll be getting, it's crazy, before the game, the night before, I'll be getting someone texting me, you know, please don't mess up my parlay, get 30 points or whatever it is, 20 points for me. I could probably find one right now. Let me try to find something.
That's mad.
It's mad, I'm telling you. It's crazy.
Does it not make you want to just shut down your social accounts, just not be on social media?
Not really. Not really. I'm not gonna lie, not really. But sometimes I will reply, like if someone's like super negative and like rude, I'll reply in like a positive way, like, oh man, hope you're doing well, like
that makes them so angry, bro. Guys, if you ever get any type of hate, respond to it that way. Like, be really kind to them. It makes them so angry.
And you'll see they'll flip. They'll be like, oh nah, like you're my guy, like appreciate you. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. I probably can't find any.
Does the NBA provide you training on stuff like that?
A little bit. The cool thing about the NBA, there's so many different programs that you can like join.
Because I think at the end of the day, ow, just hurt myself. I think at the end of the day, they do kind of like you. They just think that you'll never see it. Like they say whatever, and because you're behind a screen and they don't see your face, they think that you'll never see it. You know, so they'll just say whatever, and maybe they have a little bit of frustration, but they do kind of like you. And yeah, they just feel bad after. That's how you should respond, though.
Or even mandatory to protect you from things like this, abuse, you know, agents, all sorts of different things. So I think that's the cool thing, that they don't just let you kind of
DL. No, I think the person in the chat was saying that he could take a DL-like role, which is like a glue guy, which I would agree with that. Saying DL is better offensively. Shooting-wise, I think DL was a... Oh, that's like cat hair on me. I think DL was a better shooter, obviously. And I also think DL was a better passer. But other than that, I would say Sochan is better at everything else than Diaw was. I don't even think that that's like controversial to say. He's a better defender. He's a better screener, better pick and roller. Yeah, I think he's better than like everything else. But
just go be like,
Yeah.
just do you know what I mean? So
You know, all of this stuff, like, it makes it, well, you know, it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week, and obviously mental health is a growing conversation, right?
huge.
rebounder, he's a better rebounder than Diaw too.
You know, it might
That's controversial? I don't think so. You're trolling, Caps. Yeah, I don't think that's controversial to say. Like, Diaw was a better shooter and better passer. That's about it. What else was Diaw better at?
must be hard mentally, not just for you, but for the rest of the players. Like, how much do you have to prioritize that, or do you think because you're in this environment, you've got friends, family around you?
Yeah,
that keep
better
you grounded,
finisher
keep
than
you sane?
Diaw too. Yeah,
That is your support network.
No, it's definitely my.
and I love, you know, everything is relative to the time, man. Because I love how, because you guys know I love Diaw. Like we're pro Diaw here, obviously, but like Diaw was on a winning team. We won a championship, and everybody is fond of Diaw. Same thing with like Tiago Splitter and all the players that were on that team, which rightfully so. We should be fond of them. But then when you go back and you look at the stats, you thought that they averaged more. Diaw's stats in 2014 wasn't as impressive as you might have remembered. I think everything is just relative. I think that's all it really comes down to. It's just like your history with this player. You remember the feeling that you had that year. You remember all the cool plays, and you just start to, you know, I don't know. That whole team was incredible, though. Yeah, that too. Love Boards Diaw, but y'all comparing Sochan to in his third year to Diaw at his peak. Yeah, that was Diaw at his peak right there. He had been in the league for a while at that point.
Support network. For me, I've in the past I've actually had like.
Oh,
mental health challenges.
actually, we're gonna end it there because that's where I said I would end it. So we'll do the other segments soon. Yeah, because this was about 40 minutes of this. So we'll do the other segments soon, and we'll finish this interview. But that was really good so far, man. I think we got a lot out of it. This is by far the best conversation that I've seen Sochan have. That anybody has featured Sochan. So that was pretty good. Pretty good stuff. Nice.